Viewer discretion advised. Hello everyone, welcome back to my freak show. I am Mary Girl Moody, and this video is brought to you by my awesome patrons. If you guys would like, you can become a patron today for only $1, and you get exclusive access to my videos, parodies, and so much more. Link is in the description, and I would like to give a huge shout out to longtime patron Courtney. Courtney, thank you so much for having so much faith in my little channel. You are greatly appreciated. You know, when I began this video, I began on the assumption of the information that was released to us last week, such as like the show is going to be in New York City in the 70s, and it's going to follow a group of LGBTQ individuals who are stalked by a serial killer. It also covers many themes such as the AIDS crisis, the New York City blackout of 1977, other famous New York City killers. That is extremely specific. So what I did is I based my research on people that have hunted or taken the lives of people in the LGBTQ plus community from the 1970s to 1980s. And I found one. That's right. Just one. And of course, as always, links to the actual images that I'm using in this video are in the description below. The Bag Murders. Picture it. New York, 1975 to 1977. 6 incredible young men living their best lives, sadly, whose names we will never know, had their lives cut short by a maniac. And this tale is pretty twisted, and it involves a Hollywood movie. So if you guys do not mind to bear with me a couple of minutes while I maneuver us through this little puzzle for a minute. Between 1975 and 1976, bags of dismembered men were found in the Hudson River. And absolutely every single bag had the NYU Medical Center Neuropsychology Unit insignia on them. And the only suspect at the time was Paul Bateson. Paul worked as a technician for the NYU radiology lab, and he was described as a funny guy. His coworkers absolutely liked Paul. His patients even liked Paul. He was just this openly gay, awesome guy that everyone loved to be around. And in 1972, Paul even had a cameo in the movie The Exorcist, which we all know was directed by director William Friedkin. The movie actually used real technicians and doctors when they shot some of their scenes. And Paul and his boss were chosen to be in the film. The scene is a little ick because Reagan is getting a test which includes a needle to her little neck. So I will only show images. But Paul is in this scene and he's he's assisting the test while his boss is the one who actually administers the test to Reagan. Now, back to the case. On September 14th, 1977, Addison Verrill, who was a reporter for Variety, was sadly had his life taken during a robbery. It seemed that Addison met a man at a bar, took him back to his apartment, they had a good time, and the man killed Addison and robbed him. But only one reporter, Arthur Bell, at the Village Voice, noticed that nothing was taken from Addison's apartment when his life was taken. And Arthur wrote an article for the Voice pleading for anyone to come forward with information about it, and it actually worked. The actual killer phoned Arthur, and he actually gave him a whole bunch of details of the crime. And he said that the crime was actually a crime of passion and that he didn't mean to do it. And when Arthur reported the phone call to the police actually verified that yes, this had to be the killer. But a second call came in, not very much longer after the actual article came out, and this person specifically said, look at Paul Bateson. This guy actually killed Addison Verrill. So the police go and they speak to Paul about it, and he basically admits that yes, he killed Addison Verrill. And while in jail, Paul admits to the bag murders. The police did what they call an investigation and couldn't find evidence to link Paul to these crimes. In 1979, Paul was actually found guilty of the murder of Addison only and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He was released in August of 2003, but he passed away in August of 2012. There are tons of people who came forward and said that Paul told them he was the bag killer. And one of them was actually William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist and so many other movies. William, who was also, called Bill, visited Paul many times in prison. And Bill verified that Paul confessed to being the bag killer. And this inspired Bill to make the movie Cruising, a biopic loosely based on this case. Mindhunter, a psychological crime thriller show on Netflix, highlighted the bag murders in season 2, episode 6. And as of 2020, the 6 men who lost their lives have never been identified, and the killer has never been brought to justice, and Paul Bateson went to his grave denying that he was the bag killer. Now guys, I just want to remind you that YouTube absolutely hates true crime videos such as this, and I want to educate you about New York and what could be going on this season so we could make great theories. Absolutely, chances are that YouTube is going to demonetize this video. So if we really want to rage against YouTube, make sure you like the video and subscribe to my little channel. That'll really give them the old finger. Now, as you might have noticed, I did not include people such as Richard Rogers, who was the Long Island serial killer, Joel Rifkin, and so many other victims who were not part of the LGBTQ plus community, and or the crimes did not occur between 1970 and 1987, but 1970s was the absolute time for serial killers. I mean, that was the decade for them. You had John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Zodiac, Jim Jones, Hillside Strangler, and so many others. And there were so many active serial killers in New York City in the 1970s. And let's actually take a moment to go over them real quick, because I'm sure the show might highlight them at some point since we're highlighting other famous New York serial killers. One of them, of course, is Richard Cottingham, and he is known to be active between 1967 and 1980. Richard took the lives of 12 young girls. His nickname included the Torso Killer and the Times Square Killer. David Berkowitz, from July 1976 to August 1977, David took 6 human lives and injured 11 people. His nickname is the Son of Sam Killer and the 44 Caliber Killer. Next on the list, next please, we have Robert Garrow. Robert was just an absolute shit stain on this world, y'all. His total number of victims is astronomical, but statistically he was convicted for taking the lives of 4 human beings in July 1973. And thankfully, Robert was killed by guards after he escaped prison in 1978. Bye, Felicia. The other less known killers are listed on Murderpedia, so I absolutely encourage you guys to check them out if you want to. There is a link in the description to check them out. Overall, though, there were more than 20 active serial killers in New York between 1970 and 1980. Guys, for some reason, which I don't understand, people in New York City in the 1970s just woke up and chose violence for some reason. So season 11 could be about any one of these many men. However, it was specifically said that season 11 would center around the LGBTQ individuals targeted by a serial killer. And there's only one case in the 70s where a killer specifically targeted the gay community in the 70s, and that is the Bag murders. And so it's also said that the show's going to feature other topics such as the Son of Sam, the famous NYC serial killers. So obviously it's going to be more than likely that one or more of these sad sacks are going to be featured on the next season of American Horror Story. Okay, so based on all the information that I've laid out in this video, here is what I predict. I predict the Bag murderer will be stalking our cast while they deal with the New York City blackout, Son of Sam, taboo topics, and sex will be everywhere. And in case you guys didn't know, the 1970s in New York was the sexual revolution for our beloved gays. A time before AIDS, and where a man could finally be free to be whoever he wanted to be, and a woman, but they had to do it on their own personal time. So the Bag murders align with the proposed tagged timeline and is the only actively known case where the LGBTQ plus community was specifically targeted. So what do you guys think of Paul Bateson and the Bag murders? Do you think that this has a chance to absolutely be featured this season on AHS NYC? If not, let me know. And let me know who you think the show will feature in the comments. Now, I took the time and researched the blackout of New York City 1977, so you don't have to, and placed all the information in a handy little video. So catch up on the history of New York City with me before the show airs on October 19th. American Horror Story Weekly Wednesday live streams, guys, are every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on my channel. And if you need to binge on AHS videos, I got plenty for you. I have parodies, I have season 11 news, and you should also check out my theory videos. I have over 50 theory videos, plenty for you to watch. The playlist is at the end of this video. For now, don't misbehave. Thank you all so much for watching, and beware of our queen, Sexy Scathitch. Well, there we go. Did I just look like a horse? Oh my god, I look like a horse.